Sam, what are your thoughts on the roster? LA Thieves, Envoy, Ghost,
Yeah, bro.
300, Scrap. I mean, what a team, Sam.
Yeah,
What a
they're
team.
fucking insane, right? Long story short, because I've been yapping about the roster for 30 minutes, I think S&D is going to be the only thing that matters for them. Their respawn is going to be good automatically, I think, just from like experience and kills, because I think they're going to have an excess of kills against everybody except for 2 teams. So I think their S&D is going to be literally their whole year. If they're good at search, they'll be
I think
insane.
they'll be good at search.
I think they will be as well, but I'm saying like that's going to be like definitely the focal point of the team, because they're going to be outslinging everybody, bro. They're just going to walk down everyone and fucking show them.
I also just seen a clip of Nate Shot saying that they're going to be living in Texas. I've talked about this. I mean, Texas is the place to be for an online league, Sam.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you're playing online, I mean, there's no reason to not be in Texas, realistically.
Yeah.
But it made sense, because there's no way Paco was moving out of Texas or some of these guys. Like, I feel like if you're that type of player, you can kind of demand that when you're kind of negotiating contracts. Like, yo, I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a bomb, Sam. We just got a bomb.
Bombs.
There's been a Ronnie bomb, apparently.
Ronnie, what are you doing, bro? He's been in my chat for the last hour. Ronnie, what are you doing, bro?
What's going on here? Let me see. Ronnie's in there. What did he say?
Did you tweet that shit G2 roster?
Yes, yes, he did. He said sources Minnesota Rocker are targeting Arcides, Paul X, Estrel, and Hook. Clay and Geo are 2 other ARs that have been spoken about. Nothing set in stone, but this seems to be what Rocker have pivoted to after trying to sign the rumored Genomates roster. Holy shit, Sam!
That team is terrible.
That roster is whoa.
That team is horrible.
You know what I mean? Like,
Sam, thank you for 2 months.
I mean, listen, off the bat, on paper, not liking it. Just got to be honest.
Okay.
Man. Just got to be honest here.
You want to know what I got to be honest about? How is Geo nowhere right now?
I don't know. I said that yesterday.
How is he nowhere?
Why is nobody picking up Geo?
How is he nowhere? Oh, Dan said we're funny. Dan, that team is terrible. Listen, I'm a straight shooter, bro. I'll keep it a buck with you.
I mean,
or that's not the team, and Ronnie's home.
We gotta keep it a buck.
Or that's not.
I mean, I don't know.
That team is terrible, though.
Hook and Estrio are going to be all over the map, just the way they play. They're like, that's going to be a hectic sub duo. And then Alec and Paul X, I mean, they showed out in challengers a little bit this year, but I mean, we all know that the big league is different, right?
I just hope Geo's on the team, bro. That's all I give a fuck about.
Who?
Geo and Estriel deserve to be in the league.
Oh yeah, Estriel's a great player. Yeah, Estriel actually played great this year. He did his thing. He deserves to be in the league.
Geo and Estriel deserve spots.
Paul X is a weird one to me, because I don't think Paul X mechanically is a bad player. I actually think he's a really good player. I think Paul X had other problems.
Yeah, he's like a shit teammate or something, right?
Yeah, that's what people were saying. But he has also commented about that in the past, and is like, I'm a change. He talks about how he's a changed man.
Justice.
Which, granted, he's getting older. People are getting older. People do change. So if Paul X comes back in with a better mental and just a better tearmate, I can see him being good here.
Shredder
I
and
think
Zeller,
Alec and Luke are the big two here. Like, how are they gonna perform? How are they gonna play with this roster? But overall,
Tyler,
I see Clay and Geo are 2 other ARs being spoken about. Do you think this team is final here, Sam? Or do you think we could potentially see Clay or Geo be thrown in there?
I don't know. The only thing that I 100% want for that G2 spot is Geo and Estriel on the team.
Yeah.
The last two players are important, but I think both of them need to be on that team.
Dan just in the chat, why don't you make the team? And I'll be honest, like, listen, it's a lot easier for us to judge here, sure. Like, whether the team's good or not. We don't know what you guys are dealing with, Dan, behind the scenes, whether it's budget or what. I mean, I can make a shit ton of teams, Dan, but will they be possible? Probably not, right? Like, I don't know what's possible, what's not possible. But it is cool to see Paul X back in there, and Estriel. I think they both deserve it. I just think Hook and RCs are going to be the 2 X factors here. I think depending on how they perform and how they come out, it's going to tell a lot about this team. Personally, I just don't see this team working. I don't think when you compare them up against like the rest of the teams.
I mean, they're the last team. So
yeah, and comparing these to the rest of the teams, it just doesn't. I don't think these guys are going to be able to compete. I'll be honest. They'll compete, but I don't know if these guys are going to be able to like really like turn some heads.
I will say,
that's just me being honest, bro. That's just me being honest. I'm not trying to like take shots at you, Dan, or the team. I'm just being honest, and I don't know if this is going to work personally. But go ahead, Sam.
I was just going to say, as long as if you get Geo and Estriel, I am usually against Kyler, just for the fact that at this point it's kind of proven that just the way that he plays COD isn't consistent or like good. But I will say that BO6 could be a title where Kyler is insane. Like he just had like how he is when he goes from game to game. Like that this could just be a title where he is fucking unreal. Like it's just super small, high engagement, just skill ceiling frying people, and I think that is a situation where Kyler could flourish. So if he does end up on the team, I actually don't mind it. But I think that Esriel and Gio should be non-negotiable if it's possible. Anyway, I think that both of them need to be on this team just in terms of like slaying potential.
What do you think it is with Gio? Why do you think teams are shying away from Gio?
Bro, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, like I don't know if there's something else, like a narrative or something behind the scenes
I
that
have
people
no
are just
idea.
not feeling Gio right now. But from what I've seen from Gio this year, granted, and he was a rookie this year. I mean, this was like his first year in. I mean, he played with a lot of confidence, bro. He has a lot of skill. Like he's definitely a good player to have on your team. Yeah. And I felt like he was only going to get better after the first year. Like you know, the first year is kind of like the year you get your jitters out, get comfortable. I thought after the first year, Gio would come in and be like a really good player for like a lot of these rosters. And I haven't seen him on any of these rumors till now. And he's not even on the main roster in this rumor. He's kind of on the sideline here being thought about. So overall, I think the roster, in my opinion, on paper is not looking too hot. But, you know, we'll see how these guys end up performing, Sam, if this is the roster that they end up going with.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if I'm right with like the assessment of BO6. Like, do you agree with me that like just the way that the game played and like felt that it's just going to be like like just face bash, hectic.
I mean, insane. Even just looking at the maps, right? Like, and they also some of the maps that weren't in the beta were actually shown on. I saw an article somewhere where they were showing like the maps that are coming in, and even looking at the layouts of the map, Sam, they all look like mediums.
Yeah.
They say that they're medium-sized maps, but they look more on the smaller side. Like, think of Rio, right? Like, and how fast-paced Rio played. Every map looks like Rio.
Like a 3-sub map.
Yeah, like a 3-sub map. Like, I mean, granted, we don't know like what's gonna get nerfed, and I mean, granted, what was that sub that was not like in the beta?
The Jackal.
The heck was it? Yeah, the Jackal. Like, if the Jackal stayed how the Jackal was, right? Like, we'd see a shit ton of subs. I think a lot of it depends on like what kind of updates we get. But I think we can all agree, like playing the beta, the Jackal was probably one of the best guns. I mean, the AR was good too, but the AR, you don't move that fast with it, Sam.
Yeah,
you can't run fast.
Yeah.
Which kind of gives me like a one main AR vibe.
Even
like
if the AR was super good, it's just like the maps don't cater to it. It's kind of how it was this year. Like the AR was, or the sub was good, but the maps were so shit for subs that it didn't matter. So like everyone was just running ARs until the end of the season when the maps got smaller.
Yeah. And I will say, granted, like, you know, when you look at like all the players that are on the market and everybody getting picked up, it is hard to make a top of the line team, right? Like it's not easy. So maybe they just see potential here. But it is cool to see like Alec get back in there after he kind of did his whole stint through challengers. Yeah. How many pros do you see, Sam? They get kicked out of the league and they don't play challengers. They just go and sit on the sideline.
And assume they're going to get an offer at some point.
Yeah, right. And assume they're going to get an offer. So I like that Alec kind of worked his way up through challengers and is kind of back here now.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be easy. These guys are going to have to show out. They have a lot of talented rosters around them that they're going to have to compete against. So best of luck to these guys. We see Slasher now getting rumors. Speaking of not playing challengers, Slasher didn't play challengers, and this guy fucking
I feel like Austin's the exception to that.
Yeah, Austin.
Austin don't gotta play challengers, bro.
Yeah, I don't know if Austin. I mean, Austin. You know, Austin. He was probably talking to people.
Oh,
he was probably talking to people.
Austin's always scheming, bro. Austin is always scheming, bro.
Hey, Benja.
How you doing, Benja?
Wait, Tom. I gotta know because I have my answer. What outside of obviously FaZe, Optic, and LAT, like what's your sleeper new roster?
Bro, I'm gonna be honest. It's hard, bro. It's really hard.
I have an answer.
I think that on paper, that Ultra and C9.
Bro, I love Toronto's team.
Yeah,
I can't
Ultra
lie. I fuck
and
with Toronto's team
C9 on paper look like the two teams, Sam, that look the most balanced. Like an entry fragger SMG, like two aggressive SMG players, aggressive flex, and then like a kind of like that main AR like backbone. You know what I mean?
I like Toronto's a lot. I think that's an easy pick, but I like Carolina's too. I actually think Carolina's is good with Mac on the flex.
I agree with Carolina. I am out on C. I think C9 is just a better version of Vegas, and they still have the same problem as Vegas.
I don't like their sub duo.
I don't like the sub duo. I don't like their
S&D comp. Carolina.
Carolina.
It's just the Boston. It's just it's the old Boston sub duo from 104 too.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, Sam, but I feel like what Cloud9 with the sub do is just going to be consistency with them. Like
That's what I
Kremp and
said.
Nero, they have so many pop-off moments, but then they have so many moments where it's kind of like, yo, what the fuck's going on with these guys?
Bro,
you know what I mean?
are you look at the C9 team. Are you against a Toronto? Are you picking them to win a Game 5 search?
I mean, we have no idea.
No, but I know we have no idea, but just today, gun to your head, like, are you taking C9 or are you taking Toronto?
It's a literal 50-50. You could
I
just
mean,
pick any of them. We don't know.
I would take Toronto because Jamie and Toby have proved time and time again. Yeah, they've had up and down years, right? You know, I don't think Vanguard was the best year for those guys, but they've had years where they've clutched it. The problem with C9 is I see the same issue that Vegas had in search. Who is going to be the S&D wizard that's going to ensure this team is staying ahead of the meta, that they're making the right mid-round decisions? I don't see it. It was Johnny on their fucking last team, and he's not here. You think Dante's going to do it? Think Krep's doing it?
No idea.
I think their biggest-
That's the question mark.
For
That's the
S&D,
question mark
because
with
I'm
these
not
guys.
worried about respawn. I think T9's a great respawn team. I think they're gonna.
I do like Lamar coming in and coaching that team though.
For-
I feel like
didn't even
Lamar
see
agreed.
the coaches.
Absolutely
I
agreed.
completely didn't even read the coaches thing. Oh,
I-
shit.
I've
Yeah,
heard
'cause you
other
gotta
names.
think like Kremp and Nero, like
Yeah.
Lamar
Lamar
watching
there.
Kremp and Nero every day. Like Lamar's definitely gonna be on their ass, bro. Like
Yeah,
Lamar's gonna
Lamar
get
there.
these guys in shape.
Yeah, chat's saying
Um,
Kremp is actually really good at search. That is true.
Kremp is
He's
good
very
at
good.
search, but
He did IGL search for LA2 too.
he did IGL for LA Thieves. My concern still though is that like we've seen the kind of decision making that Nero has in search, and I love Dante, but let's not act like Dante's some amazing S&D player either. So I think it's a very
But I mean,
similar
there's
issue to
not,
Vegas.
bro. There's not like, there's very few amazing S&D players of the
100%.
studio anyway, though. It's not like
but that's
every
but
team
that's
has
why I
one.
like that's why I like Carolina, because if Mac
No,
comes
their
in,
search is gonna be fucking insane. I
if
think their
Mac
search
comes
is
in,
gonna
they
be,
can
like,
produce.
potentially the best in the league.
I do want to talk about
yeah.
Carolina because first and foremost, Slasher's coming back in after pretty much sitting out for most of the year.
Thank you so much.
And I thought that was interesting because he
Awesome,
didn't
thanks,
play
bud.
challengers, but we all know what Slasher brings to the table as a player and a teammate. And then Mac took a year off, came back, and it looks like he's going to be slotted
in
into the
search
flex role
assassin,
here.
yeah, he
That's
played
what it
calls
looks like.
sometimes.
Unless they're thinking about putting Tej on a flex.
I hope
Which-
not. I hope they just
No,
let Mac do it.
Max are running.
I'd rather have Tej like taking routes and stuff. And
Yeah.
listen, I've seen some comments about Mac, and people are like, Mac on a flex. I don't know. Like some people don't really like
Bro,
that.
they got
I love
Seattle.
Mac on
They
a
got
flex.
Seattle in their brain, dude. They forgot.
It's their best.
They
It's
forgot.
Mac's best
They
role.
forgot, bro.
Man. Mac,
Yeah.
Bro, Mac is so good.
They're
with
thinking
an
of
AR.
bitch sub Mac that Seattle. They had him doing that because they had to cover for Dante and fucking AG
right.
running around.
The
bro.
only issue with
Insane.
Carolina is, first off, amazing search team on paper. Hard points should be very good. I will say this collection of players are not the best good players in control. And this could be the same problem that Carolina had last year, where yes, they're capable of going 2-0 in a series, but they're just as capable as getting reverse swept. Yes, control for this
Fucking
team.
control, dude. God
Also,
Control.
With
That's-
the,
I
with
agree-
the
that's
Vegas
what I think.
Falcons, how do we say all their names? So we have Luti and then Luti, and then I want to make sure I don't like say their names wrong. You know what I mean? King of Body. We obviously know King of Body. King of Body was the one doing the 1v1s, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
And then what is it? Xnid,
yeah.
Roxas.
I don't know how the other one, because I'm assuming the 5 is different. 'Cause
Khalid,
the 5
Roxas,
is
and King of Body.
what was the first one?
Mhm.
Khalid is how you pronounce his name.
Okay, that's what I was
Oh,
gonna say. 'Cause I know.
Khalid. People are
yeah.
saying that Khalid
Yeah.
is how you say it.
Okay,
So-
yeah,
Yeah.
because
okay, so
like the
Khalid-
numbers are like Arabic translations for sounds and shit. Because
They're-
they don't have the letters in the
Okay.
alphabet
Yeah.
or something like that.
So,
And then
so
somebody told me that Xnid is pronounced Zenid. That's what King
Zenid?
RC just said in the chat. That's what
We're
he
gonna
said. Zenid.
we'll talk to Luti and get a fucking.
Yeah,
style
we
guide
gotta
and
talk to
everything.
Luti, bro. I don't want to get
But
their names wrong.
The
but-
MO on Vegas Falcons is, first off, they were still a very good search team last year in EU challengers. Like, they are good situational search players, one-on-one search players, and they played very high progressive. Respawn was really iffy for them in the beginning of the year, but when they made that run in EU challengers last year, they've had a couple of really good key bread and butters, and they grinded out Game 5 series. I think you made a really good point, Sam, a couple of months ago when this team got announced, that like they will get better very quickly in this region, but can they
Yeah.
keep up with these teams at Respawn?
I mean, it's the same. It's not the same degree as when all the Europeans kind of moved over here, because like they were behind because their practice really just wasn't great. They weren't playing against NA teams, so they could never really get better. Like they hit their regional ceiling.
Yeah.
So I think that it's the same thing here. Obviously, to not that extent because there's not as many players, but I think Falcons is going to come here and probably get shit on for a while. But there's going to be a point where they wake up and it clicks. I think because the style and the level of Call of Duty that's played here as compared to what they're used to on a day-to-day basis is so drastically different. So I think they will improve quick. how much they'll improve and the ceiling of which they can hit, I have genuinely no idea. I'm ignorant to that. I don't know how good or bad any of these guys are, so I'm not going to pretend to know. But just stacking up against the teams and the people that I see on this page, I don't think that they're going to do very well. And that's not to say they won't get better, which they will, like I said, but I don't know.
Yeah. I think just looking at all these rosters on paper, though, man, we're going to have a competitive league this year. Because even looking at some of the mid-pack teams, like, I just don't know if a lot of them will keep up with the slaying power that some of these top teams have. But you know how it is going into a new game. You know, people turn up, people shine out. Like, you never know what could happen with some of these, like, mid-pack teams.
Yeah,
I'm really curious to see who's kind of slot into like that 4th-5th range. Like Sam, what you were saying, like who do you think is going to be like that top 4 or 5 team? Because I think we can all agree FaZe Optic and like top 3.
Should be top 3, but fourth is wide open right now.
4th is definitely wide open. Sure. What do you think about the Genomates roster, Sam? I never got your opinion on it. I talked about it with Ben. Were we talking about this roster a little bit yesterday? I think I was talking about myself with this roster, but.
I think we were talking. Were we just talking about on the call we were just on?
I don't know. I don't remember. There's been so many rosters and so much movement. I can barely remember what's going on. But with Genomates, I actually think chemistry wise and teamwork wise, they're going to be a good team.
I know what Pat's gonna say.
Sorry, what'd you say?
I know what Pat's gonna say about this team on the next episode.
We have Paco at home, bro.
Chat, take a guess. Pat is going to use 2 words to describe this team. Can you guys guess it in the chat?
Can you use 2 words?
He's gonna use 2 words
to describe. 3 words. So.
No. Tivo NYSL is fucking insane.
What are the 2 words he's gonna use?
Friendship.
They're saying dog shit.
Dog shit might be it, but friendship cheese would be it.
I don't think this team is gonna be dog shit, bro. Skies, Priesta, Kismet, Lins, like they're good players, bro. Like they're not gonna be just like ass. Like I actually think they're gonna be a smart team. Like,
this is a prove it roster to me.
This is a prove it roster. The problem with a smart team is like the way the CDL is with how much online there is. This team is going to be able to beat good teams and be able to lose to bad teams, but be very capable of going to an event and having the preparation and just being able to match the intensity where they can go on a run and get a good top 6, maybe a top 4. But the problem is, can they play good enough online to like stem the negative tide of roster changes and like probably lack of consistent slaying they have? Like, do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I think slaying is the number one thing for them.
Yeah, slaying is 100% the number one thing. Like we've seen P-Dog, right? Like Priesta has his moments, Skies has his moments. Same with Kismet. They all have their moments. Lynn started off the year so good, but then kind of like whittled down as the year went on. It's just kind of like, how are these guys going to match up with like the top teams? Like, are they going to be able to like consistently slay? That's the biggest question mark there with Genomates.
Well, I was talking
Vancouver is a weird one to me. Go ahead,
dude. I hate Vancouver.
I don't like it either.
No, the last thing on Genomates, I was talking with chat. I think although this is his like rookie or sophomore season technically, I think if Linz isn't good with this team, I think that like we've seen the ceiling that he can hit like for the foreseeable future, because I think playing with Kiz is the best way to make sure that you're playing as good as you possibly can as a sub. And I think that like this is going to be Linz's team to show out and prove that like he is like that major one from last year, that former and rookie of the year candidate, and like the prospect that we thought he was going to be. But Pat's gonna say the same shit, but Preston's got to get kills. That's what this team's gonna be, bro. Preston has to get kills.
Agreed. I mean, he's the flex
has
player.
to.
When I look at all the flex players on every team, like that's a player that's got to be able to like do it all and like take over.
Preston
right?
has to step up. He has to. This is his, this could be his actual last chance to do it.
100%. It's just there's a lot of prove it situation on the team. A lot of people that could have one bad stage and get dropped. And for Linz, it's like this is actually a very good squad to learn from, because all these guys are pretty professional. They're grinders. They're going to give it all in practice.
It's a great spot for him to be after last year. For sure.
If he can't figure it out with this team,
well,
the negative
upgrade for last year.
Well, no, but here's the issue:
that's true.
Is these are 3 players that are very influential pros, and like if Linz cannot figure out how to be that guy with them, like it is going to crush the stock, and he's going to have a very difficult time not just playing on bottom feeder teams.
With Vancouver, Sam, I felt like they could have done more.
Dude,
I feel like there's other players that they could have gone around.
Ronnie actually had a genuinely good take. He's in my chat, and he said if Crimp and Hixie switch spots, both teams would be better, and I actually agree with that wholeheartedly.
Actually, you might.
Yeah. I think he cooked with that.
Yeah, actually, Hixie Nero sub duo actually.
I just worry, Sam.
Nero kind of do what he wants.
Let me get your honest opinions about this. Dude, does Vancouver have an entry frag or SMG player?
No.
Like, can 04 fit that role?
See,
I was saying yesterday that I don't see 04 being that type of player.
I just don't know what kind of player he is yet, is the thing. Like, we watched him for like half a season, and his respawn wasn't great, obviously, because he had to fucking learn it on the fly. So I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna hold that against him. But I don't really know stylistically who I would want to play with him. Off the top of my head, I always go with pace and I go with kills. So I think Kremp on this team could be good. But I just think that 04 Nabuza was such a good landing spot for every single player on this page outside of the top 3 teams. And to see them end up with Hixie and Nasty, I just don't think is a good fit stylistically. I think that Nasty and Hixie are very good if you were to pair them with people that are high engagement, high kills, can work the map well as kind of a backbone. But to put them on the same team with players that need pace, I don't think works. I don't like the team. I'm not a fan of it thematically.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of saying yesterday. My chat was saying, but 04 is fast. 04 plays fast, but it's not about playing fast. It's like a play style thing.
Well, I just think he was
at,
just learning on the fly too.
What happened?
He was just learning on the fly. That's why I don't want to give him like a label or anything like that, because he was figuring it out, bro. He never played Respawn.
Looking at this roster, Sam, 04 is gonna have to step up in that spot because Hixie's not really that type of player. Hixie's kind of like the strategic, route man, rotate, make good plays, right? You need somebody who just got to get down and dirty, throw himself into the mix.
There's a Rambo Ray. I love Ray, but I see the vision of this team, right? We are going to play together. We're going to overwhelm people with numbers and force trades and take map control together. But Sam highlights a big point. But here's the problem: it doesn't work, and you're coming off a spawn with no map control. Who is winning gunfights to help open up the map? Who's that aggressive player?
My chat's saying that Reese would have been a good slot here too, and I agree.
Exactly, I agree.
Yeah, Vivid's been. I haven't heard Reese's name. I was actually texting back and forth with Reese a little bit because he was talking about running different guns and shit like that. He was just coming to me for some advice. But I'm actually surprised that we don't see Reese being at least targeted at all, at least thought about.
I feel like he's going to be if he's not on a starting team, he'll be a mid-season pickup for some of these guys. Because I think that the skill ceiling of the game and the way that Black Ops 6 plays, I think is going to hit some of these teams like a fucking truck. And I think that when they see Reese on the market, he's going to be the first person that they go to.
Yeah, somebody said Vivid's inconsistent, but one thing I like about Reese is he doesn't play for stats. He doesn't mind. He'll have so many interactions. He'll get in the mix. He'll get involved. You need players like that on your team because it'll just make everybody around you better. You were just talking about that with Kismet, right, Sam? For somebody like Linz, right? Having somebody like Kismet on his team should allow Linz to kind of play good COD, right? It should kind of put him in good scenarios and good spots to get kills and roam and slay. Every team needs a player like that.
Yeah.
You look at Carolina, they got Gwyn. I see Gwyn as that type of player. All the top 3 teams all have that type of player, that entry fragger type of SMG. If you look at fucking LA Thieves, Optic, and FaZe, you see how they're composing their teams. Some people aren't really filling in that system, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
A fast sub, Slayer, roam sub around an aggressive flex.
It doesn't always have to be like that. I don't think Optic has roles that are exactly like that with the way that AG and Ant work. But I feel like when you don't build a team the way that you should, having contrasting play styles and stuff like that, you have to have so much talent, in which the Optic case they do, that it doesn't matter. And I think that when you're building teams outside of the top 4, you don't ever have that amount of talent for it to not matter. So all of these teams need to be building rosters in the way that, it sounds condescending, but the way that we've been saying, you need contrasting styles, you need theme within your team. And when you're putting players like Nasty and Hixie on the same team without pace, or you're putting Kremp and Nero together, there's no someone to bounce off of. They're either both frying or they're both getting shit on. There needs to be some sort of contrast when you're putting together these rosters. And granted, we could just be fucking wrong right now, and these guys could just be one of the teams that figure it out when the game starts and they're just godlike, right? Because that happens every year. But the way that some of these rosters have been put together, I do like some of them. I love Toronto. I think that's a really good team. I like the Ravens team. I like C9 sometimes, depending on how they work together. There are good rosters here, but I think there's some players that are being left out, and I don't think should be at the moment.
I agree.
Challenges are gonna be very competitive this year as well.
Do you guys talk about Minnesota yet or no?
We talked about the roster. We briefly talked about it. Wasn't really too big of a fan on their roster.
I fucking hate it.
There's only so much you could do. Ben, what are your immediate thoughts on the Carolina roster? People are asking about Illy too. We'll talk about Illy. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't think Illy's getting in the league. He hasn't played COD in a year. I think I saw a clip of Shotzi talking about how Illy hasn't even been logged into BattleNet for over a month. Like if he's not playing,
We're
he's not
watching
getting picked
BattleNet
up.
login.
Well, people are actually.
That's what I saw a clip on Reddit of Shotzi looking at his
That's
BattleNet
insane.
login logs.
That's insane.
And I was like, bro, if he's not playing the game, he's not getting like Illy's just not gonna get picked up. Illy has always been known as a grinder, bro. Always had the stream up, late night chows, putting in that extra time. Like that was Illy's whole thing. Now he's not playing. He's nowhere to be found. No CDL team is gonna pick up a player who's nowhere to be found. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Who's in the chat? Nate Shot to the chat. What did Nate Shot? Nate Shot just came in with a resub. He said, talk about thieves. Don't think you've covered it yet. Nate.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. We've been talking about this damn roster for weeks. And also, Matt, I knew you were bullshitting in that clip.
04 was a low-key slayer last year. 9 slayer among all players. He's way faster and gets more kills than people think. No, I understand that, PD. I'm more so meant I didn't want to label the way that...
He looked like he wanted to just start smiling and start laughing in that clip.
I didn't want to label him in a way because, one... I didn't understand the way that he played, not understanding in the way that I didn't want to give him a label because he had only been in the league for like half of a season. And I think that when you're trying to learn respawn at the highest level, which he was, because he only had like 1 or 2 events prior to that when he won with Pierce and Challengers, I didn't really watch enough of his gameplay to give him a category in my head of how I like the sub duos that I think he should have. And the reason that I don't like Hixie on the team is if 04 plays the way that he was in Respawn last year, granted inconsistent, but again, I'm not going to hold it against him. I would rather have someone like Kremp on the team to flow off of instead of the onus of making the plays being on 04, because Hixie, while he makes plays, he isn't the person that's going to go out there and win you a game. He's not the person that's going to go drop a 1-2, whereas Kremp can do that. And if you're bouncing off of someone while trying to get acclimated more so to Respawn going into your second year, even though you didn't get a full first year, I think it's a better situation for 04 to be able to bounce off of a playmaker as opposed to have the onus to be the playmaker. That's where I'm at with Seattle. But again, I could be wrong and he could fucking go into that role where he's insane. But I don't know. That's just where I'm at in my head with the team.
But talking about this with the Thieves roster, even with Matt in here right now, and even like seeing some of the videos that they released today, that's going to be a good content roster too, bro. Like just looking at some of these teams from like a content perspective or like a branding perspective. Like some of these teams are going to be like, especially the LA Thieves roster, obviously the top teams. But I mean, I want to see all these rosters making content this year. Like show the players, show behind the scenes, like all the good, all the bad. Like I want to see it all, bro, with these guys. Like
that's also
that
true,
always makes the league a lot
playing
more
Vista every time.
So
probably
I want to see Thieves step it up because like I'll be candid. I thought back when Sam was on the team, their doc series is really good. I wasn't the biggest fan of their content this year. I think Josh's stuff is incredible, by the way. Not the doc stuff.
Nice team, bro.
The social stuff that Josh does is like very funny.
Josh is comedy, bro.
Josh's stuff around the team is really good, but I think this could be a really good content team. And like, I know it seems like they're going to potentially not be playing from LA. I saw that Matt was talking about on stream. Like,
you're
trying to figure out the logistics of that content.
I mean, when you're picking up superstar players that live in Texas, that's how it always ends up, bro. They demand to stay in Texas. They don't want to leave Texas or wherever the hell they are. But if there's one place they're demanding to be, Texas is a great place to be because that's like the mecca for online Call of Duty, man. Like, why wouldn't you want to be?
Gives you the best chance to be good.
Yeah, you connect well to all the servers. Like, you don't got to worry about internet problems or any of that bullshit. The LA internet is fucking dog shit, bro. Like it is bad, bro. So
do we know where
Falcons
is
in
playing
Texas?
From? Yes.
Where?
Not gonna say on stream, but I will type it in the
chat.
Then
why did you say yes? Okay, they're playing from Atlanta. Gotcha.
Yeah, they're playing from Atlanta. Yep. Atlanta is the rumor right now. Atlanta's interesting. Atlanta's also another hotspot, bro. To be honest with you, Atlanta, I feel like that's where FaZe be playing out of, and people always say that FaZe has the best shit, Sam.
Dark fiber, brother. Dark fiber.
Yeah, I've never. I don't know. Obviously, I don't get to experience playing FaZe on that internet, but apparently Atlanta's got the best shit. Atlanta and Texas is what people be talking about.
That's where you want to be if you're playing COD.
Yeah. I think overall, looking at the rosters though, man, it's cool to see all of them on paper and seeing all of them like lined up like this, just so you could kind of compare them all. I think we haven't really talked about Miami a lot, but with Rancor coming in, bro. Yeah, I mean they only made one swap. They bring in Rancor. We'll kind of see
who did they actually change, or did they just add him and they're like eventually we'll figure it out?
That's usually how Miami does it, right? They
Did
bring
they
all these
make an
guys on
actual
and then-
change? I feel like it was so long ago with their Rancor announcement that I don't remember if they did or not.
I'm not sure. I have no idea. People are saying Lucky.
Lucky? Okay.
Or not people, but one guy said Lucky.
I hear you
Literally
on one guy.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Miami
Okay.
just yet. They're probably gonna maybe they'll do what they did. Didn't they just do this where they had like a bunch of players and
They
they
did
were
this
kind of
last year
interchanging?
with like Journey and
Yeah,
shit.
they were interchanging people in and out, trying to
Yeah.
figure out like who the best roster is. So that'll be interesting. We'll keep an eye on Miami like when the year starts and kind of see what's going on there.
Clayton,
But
thank you, buddy.
gentlemen, any final thoughts on these rosters? I mean, these rosters are hella, bro. Just from
No,
top to bottom.
these roster, the Minnesota roster sucks. I'm sorry, but like we got to come back to this. Like, what is the concept? Like, bro,
Get him, man. Fuck him up.
no,
Fuck him up, man.
I mean, this Minnesota roster, like, because
Jeez,
like,
what
I
is
just
that?
Minnesota don't learn any lessons from any of these teams that they built, bro. How important like getting a good start is. This is not a team.
I
There's a
hope
good
Danny's still in chat.
There's a good mid-season fucking team.
I hope Danny's
There's a
still
good,
here.
I don't care if Dan's in chat.
Nah,
Like,
no,
there's a good,
he was just
mid-season
funny. He was here
team.
earlier.
Like once people know the game, because there's a lot of skill talent on this team. But like considering how everybody's kind of geared up, and I think have a lot of strong points, I look at this potential Minnesota team and like, what is their win condition as a squad?
I don't know.
Compared
Their
to
team's
some
probably
of these
like
other teams that are built.
bro. Who the fuck
I just
knows?
think like, and I hope Minnesota take a step back and look at some of these other teams forming, and they're like, and again, I think these are 4 talented players, but I look at the rest of the other teams forming, and I'm like, I don't know
Also,
if this
like,
combo is the right
I'm
one.
not gonna bail them out, but they are also last, so it's not like the talent pool is massive for them to work with anyway. You know what I mean? Like there are players that seem very straightforward for them to get.
But whose fault is that?
No, I know. I mean, apparently they were supposed to get like they were trying to get that Gentlemates team. Like they were trying to do things. I think at least behind the scenes, but.
I mean, if you lose out and don't get the players you want, and now you're left in a weird spot, you gotta do the best you can to make a competitive roster.
But see, bro,
it's just hard to put. It's just hard to say.
But here's a
problem.
problem.
You compare them against the rest of the league.
Here's the problem: is every other team. We have criticized a lot of teams for making leftover squads, and I'm gonna be really candid with you. I really want to give respect to a lot of the bottom 6 of the league because some of the teams we're hearing right now are cohesive teams with a system concept. And yes, they're not perfect teams and they have weaknesses, but conceptually on paper, I understand what they're trying to do here. I don't understand what Minnesota's trying to do. This feels like a leftovers team. And look, we've seen leftover teams like Click, TK is the most famous example of World War II, basically a leftover team. And they were, the top team in the beginning of World War II. Sometimes it works, but I just don't see it happening with this one.
Yeah,
that's true.
Wait,
New York didn't tweet about Paco. Oh shit!
What happened?
Apparently, the New York didn't tweet about Paco leaving.
They didn't give him a farewell.
I guess not. I didn't know that stuff.
And the coaching staff. I mean, looking at the coaching staffs here, he's got Lamar coming in.
D-Real,
Marky B. Yeah, me too. I think
Lamar
that's a
with
perfect
Dante
spot for
and
Lamar.
D-Real and Mark's actually a very interesting combo. I'm not gonna lie. That's the same kind of thought process as Troy and D-Real. And that's why I kind of really like the Gentlemates as a dark horse, assuming that they aren't really poor online, like a very good dark horse land team in the beginning of the season.
I thought Boston was going to bring in Sean with that performance he had. When they brought Shawnee in? Was it somebody sick or something? They brought Shawnee in. And
Cheese with a 10, followed by
Shawnee
Mr.
ended up with,
Phelps'
some of
10
the best
wins.
stats on Boston at the end of the year, which is crazy. That's the construction man right there. If you guys remember, you guys know.
The
you guys
construction
know.
man.
You know what
I hear you on Ramaza.
Ramaza, fucking construction, MW19. Man, what a map, dude. What a fucking map.
Dude, just looking at these teams now, like it's so evident now that we're seeing all the names on paper with everyone that teams like Miami and teams like Falcons, you have so many players that just seem like, oh yeah, they'll be in the league, that are just sitting on the fringe right now because of that. Like, I don't know if that's like fucked or not, but like people like Estriel, people like Gio, people like Reese, like there are players that just seems like, yeah, they'll be in the league. They deserve a spot. They're gross. So they can make a team. But now that you just have 8 spots that are gone, it's so much more evident now. Visit. 10 gifted. Thank you, buddy.
Any other final thoughts, gentlemen, on these teams? So for those of you that are just tuning in or have been tuning in, we definitely are planning to run an episode of The Flank. We'll get everybody on there. We'll hit up some people. We'll get some guests on. And then we can also do a tier list episode. If we get some guests on, we probably won't do a tier list. We'll do another episode for the tier list. So we definitely got some episodes coming out for y'all. Here in the near future. People are saying when. Here in the near future, for sure.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate the love,
Also,
chat.
me
Thank
and
you guys,
Ben
man.
just got
Love,
off a
cheese,
1 hour
wisdom,
phone
Vista.
call.
Thank you guys, yes.
About
Much
40 minutes ago.
appreciated.
Obviously, don't want to leak too much, but Ben, we have so much planned. And Sam, you actually know what's going on because I put it in the group chat.
Baby.
But there's so much going on, guys. Let's just say that as soon as Black Ops 6 drops, we're getting right into it. You know what I mean? We're getting right into it. We got so many things that we're doing, and we're gonna be seeing all these players in action going crazy. So I'm excited for it, man. I'm excited for it. And I know last year we kind of did a flank invitation. We did one thing. We're looking to do a lot more this year. We're looking to do multiple
Spin the
things.
wheel,
that's the goal.
respin. 20
no
gifted.
Respins. You won't see no respins. You won't see any of that bullshit. We're just, you know what
20
I mean? No,
gifted.
20 fucking, actually it was 100 gifted. or 50. I think it was 50 gifted from each player. But no respin cheese. I know people hated that last year, so we learned our lesson. We definitely won't do any of that shit. But a lot is planned, bro.
Ooh, Cobra tweet. Translate post. Chat, what is this shit translated to? Oh my god. Cobra's out here tweeting.
Cobra, what's crazy too is Cobra was a name that what's Cobra's Twitter? Because I put in Cobra.
Cobra 2A's MVP.
Cobra 2A's MVP.
Big shit, this league sucks.
Let me see here. Let me translate this shit, man. I'm actually surprised Cobra's name was being thrown around a lot this year.
Well,
and now you're not even seeing him on any of these rosters. You're not even seeing him being thought about some of these rosters. I mean, that's weird, right?
This shit sucks. That's what I'm saying with these 8 roster spots that are fucking chalked, bro. There's people and rookie talent that just isn't getting a spot because of it. There's just 8 spots that are fucking locked. Stupid.
Yeah, I feel bad for him, but he was definitely a standout player in challengers. Like everybody was talking his name up.
But like, how much of this is like? And this is again, there's always truth somewhere in the middle. Like, how I would love to know how much of this is like, is he not doing a good enough job like fighting for himself on these
like
spots?
Politics, you don't think he's talking?
Getting hit up by some of these people and not making a case for himself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know there are a lot of amateur players that like to let their gameplay do the talking and they talk on Twitter all about it. But like, you guys were from players, like
you have to chat. Do you think
you have to fight for yourself
when it comes to these rosters? I think they do. I think you got to be able to network and talk and make certain phone calls and kind of sell. You got to sell yourself. You got to sell yourself a little bit. Maybe there was some cheese coming in. I mean that's just kind of like that shit happens, bro. I think with some of these guys, bro, like they're just gonna have to just get another year in challengers, and like Sam said, there's gonna be a lot of mid-year pickups, bro. Like
there will be for sure.
There will definitely be teams that just fall flat on their face. Like a lot of these rosters, not everybody can be top 3, top 4, right? Like a lot of these rosters aren't gonna do well, and there's probably gonna be some change. And maybe that's when we see Cobra or Vivid or some of these other guys coming in that have kind of been talked about that people are looking to bring in.
Hey, Bricks, thank you, buddy. Appreciate the love.
But yeah, man, we'll see what happens. I'm so excited for Black Ops 6, bro. I'm so excited for it. The only thing I'm worried about is maps with Black Ops 6. I'm worried about it a little bit. Just by looking at some of the layouts, I looked at all the 6v6 maps that are coming out, and just looking at like the mini map and the layout of them all, like I just don't know like how some of these maps are gonna play out. For all we know, they might all be godlike. The maps might all be insane. Who knows? But I worry about it a little bit because I think that's really important. I think every year that's one of the most important things is how good are the maps and the spawns. And if they're shit, it is what it is. We gotta have to grind through it again. You know what I mean? But
yeah, but it's Treyarch. I got faith. Even if they are small.
Exactly. I'm like with Treyarch, like if there are shit maps, I feel like they would make more maps.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why. I just feel like they would, just based on their history. Yeah. But yeah, and for people coming in, some people are asking about Rocker. They're confused because there's question marks there. But yeah, Rocker right now is not confirmed yet, but there has been some leaks. We already talked about it. But this is the roster right here for Minnesota.
Yeah.
Their honest opinions there. But
the map thing, Tom, look, almost every game has launched, and we've had just on that first event, one or two kind of iffy maps.
Who do you guys
like? As always, we got to hope we have like 3 to 4 really good ones on the rip. And just that season 2, end of season 1, reloaded maps are good because if we can reload and get to the middle of the season, the beginning of the spring with a good map set, like that's how you have a good year, Like we're just not going to get like a goated rip off the set, like, Black Ops 2 was kind of blessed with that, but
Lot
like
of
AW
C9s,
and
a lot of
Apple took a while to
Ultras.
come together. Cold War probably the best CDO
Some
game
Ravens.
Apple wise.
Okay, so
Didn't
we
get
think
better
it's
until
so,
Raid got in the
so
mix.
basically, I think everyone's in agreement that it's a Raven,
just how it
C9,
is.
and Ultra.